We are live and now.
We live, baby.
We
We
are
live.
live. This voice that you hear is the voice of Sydney Winston. Welcome to my channel.
And the voice of a guy who living in the wrong place in Germany.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I don't live in the United States. I live in Canada. So this Canadian and that German are sitting here and watching how the United States elections process works. And
And we are wondering about that.
yes, we're wondering if you could help us understand it. Now, what we are doing is watching the Twitter exit poll hashtag. We figure that's gonna be worth something. And now, because we just sort of figured that we'll do this on the whim, uh, you'll have to listen to Pio tell you how German politics works while I set
I
it up.
haven't. We have no idea. We have a democracy, right?
You have a democracy?
Uh, yeah.
Oh.
No. Someone will wonder what the Germans have a democracy. Yeah, it's not 1945, 1931, 39.
1933.
Whatever Uncle Alf came
Whatever.
into whatever Uncle Alf came into being, right? No, we have democracy now,
Damn straight.
and we are called social democracy because we take care of people who do not have money, right?
Unlike, for example,
The United State of cunts, who are only caring about the rich people.
don't you think they have? Don't you think that life is, sucks? If you, and if you're lucky to be
Um,
rich, you should
I
just.
mean, I mean, the difference is pretty clear.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to Germany, look at the people, like the people who are smiling, and then you go to the United States of America, how they are smiling, you'll notice a difference. And the difference are the amount of teeth they mouse. It means we have health insurance in Germany
Yeah.
who are caring to pay for dentists. And yeah, in America,
Hello, Randolph.
it's,
Welcome.
yeah, hi, Randall.
We're going to be watching as soon as I set it up, we'll be actually watching something, not just listening us ramble along, but you're welcome to join us.
Yeah.
So that'll be two Canadians and a German.
Hello, Sydney, Winston, strong atheists. How do you mean that, Randolph?
Yeah, how do
I
you
mean,
define, what's your definition of hello, Randolph?
and of strong and atheists,
Ah, damn, you're working.
and isn't Randolph like one of the deers of Santa Claus?
Don't worry about my friend, he's drunk. I've got to share this with you, I think. But yeah, bear with us. Things are just happening back east. I think the exit polls have just started coming out. Yeah, it's still early days, so just bear with us as we explain to you the simplicity of the Canadian voting or the Canadian parliamentary system. Consti- I think we just a parliamentary or a constitutional parliamentary. I don't know exactly, but we're the best kind of democracy here in Canada. We should spread it to the world, don't you think? You've been here. You've been to Canada, Pio.
I've been there, but I wasn't there for elections and stuff,
I know,
right?
but don't you think that we're the kind of people, or we're the kind of country who should be uh, setting the example for the rest of the world, and the rest of the world should follow?
I mean, I was only 4 days there, and I loved it, right?
Well, yeah.
But the reason for that, I don't want to spread about over the internet. But it's a lovely country. And especially the shortcuts when you go from airport to your destination place, and
Yeah,
suddenly you will find yourself in a forest,
yeah,
and your driver is pissed because he missed the road,
yes.
and suddenly you are in danger
Oh my God.
of right
Yeah.
exactly what your wife told you at home. Those people will kill you. And
Oh my God, this sounds horrible.
and yeah, and yeah, the story. By the way, did you make a picture of your car? I asked you.
You know what? It
You
started
didn't. Okay,
raining and it
this
got.
this is
It's. I
this is
need
how
sun.
Canadians keep your promises, their promises. So I asked Sydney to make a picture of his car. I
Yes.
think like a month ago or something.
No, way longer than that.
And this is how the elections in Canada works.
Okay. I am totally guilty. He did ask me about a month ago. Probably, probably like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
No, it can't be. I've only been back. No, I've been back 2 months. Holy shit.
So it was 2 months ago, like, right?
No, I've been back since. No, I've been back 1 month.
Since you were back.
Yeah. All right. And then the sun went out. There was no light.
Right. It's like 5 o'clock, it's dark, right?
No, 3 o'clock is dark.
What? It's 3 o'clock? You mean like 3 o'clock? Fucking. So are you, let's say, in the 24 hours counting? What do you mean by 3 o'clock?
Through in 1,500 hours.
Oh, 1500 stock at your place.
Yes.
Okay, so you know now why there are no people living in Canada.
Ed Luckenbill's in the house. What do you mean no people? People are clamoring. People are climbing the walls to get into this country. They're sacrificing their lives. We have these very, very
Uh,
steep
you
border
mean like
fences.
the Americans are the Mexicans now, and that's why you want to build the wall in
No,
Canada.
I came up with an idea. This is an out for all of you atheists in America. Here's your out. Atheists only. Everybody else, close your ears. Look the other way. Go put your fingers in your ears. But atheists, America. This is my appeal to American atheists. Come to Canada. All of you. Come to Canada. We need you. Because Canada is an atheist environment. It's rife for atheism to mushroom and spread like its political system across the world.
So
Don't you
let
think?
me summarize that. He was
Okay.
talking about to raise the finger, and he didn't say it in your bump, and then use his telling about come, right?
What are you talking
Spread
about?
on.
Are you being disgusting?
Yeah, I am.
Well, go be disgusting.
I
Be
hope we will
disgusting in
not.
German. How about that?
I hope we will not. No. I hope that you'll be not. How do you call it when you not get money from YouTube? this something.
Oh, demonetized?
Yeah, because of me.
Well,
I hope not.
I'm already. This one's already demonetized based on your behavior.
Yeah, I just hope that will not happen.
All right, let's start zooming in here.
Yeah, let's go back to a topic. We are talking about the
All right, so
voting.
the exit polls we're watching here. We should also watch. Let me have a look. What else we got going? Actually, we can start sort of hopping
No,
around.
I still find it the comment woke means not awake.
What?
There was a guy which said woke doesn't mean awake. I still found it funny.
Well, I don't know what even woke means.
It means nothing. That's the thing.
Oh! I got called out by Randolph. Firstly, I've never heard of Craig Hicks. Sorry about that. He's an atheist in the USA. How is that relevant to him doing time in prison for murder? Sorry, Randolph, I haven't heard of this guy, Craig Hicks. That name is new to me. Polls are for strippers and cross-country skiers,
Yes.
according to Sarah Palin.
What does he mean by the Poles? Does he mean the North and South Pole or the people from Poland?
Well, if he's a murderer, hold on a sec, Pierre. I'm having an off-screen chat with Randolph about this atheist murderer, Craig Hicks. He unfortunately won't be able to join his fellow American atheists who will be able to cross the border. Will be welcomed.
In the United States of Canada.
No, never. The United States political system is archaic. It's absolutely, I don't know, I can't think of a word that describes it more succinctly. Let's see, 43 seconds ago. I'd like to see the ones that are being... Oh, there we go, right away.
ProPublica.
Tennessee is now the only state in the country that requires those convicted of felonies be up to date on their child support payments before they can vote again. According to the ProPublica, at ProPublica on Twitter. The Guardian. Midterms elections, first U.S. polls to close as Republicans eye gains in Senate and House live. These are all the same. It's going to be dribbling like this for a while, I think. Our 2022 midterm.
What does it mean? Unidoses.
What does it mean? What?
Yeah, it says unidoses.
I don't know. Hey, Randolph, how you doing?
Hi, Randolph, the great guy.
Got a chance to join in. I thought I should probably clarify a bit
from
there.
Canada, the chief of the atheists in Canada.
No.
The sheriff. No, the founder. No, the whatever.
An atheist.
The guy who talked to what was this name of Kant Hovind or something?
I've not spoken with Kent Hovind before. I've spoken with a few people who make fun of his name, and that might be what you're thinking of. They're all delightful, by the way.
No, but I've watched you on. You were on Modern Day Debate, right? Talking to people.
Oh yeah, and I'm going to be on again fairly.
No, I made a video you're talking about with Kant Hovind. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I know more than you know. That you spoke to
I'm
the
impressed.
guy. Oh,
Because
I'm impressed too. I'm impressed too.
I'm impressed because if I've spoken with Kent Hovind, I don't remember it, and maybe I've got a mental block. And which
no, there's nothing to
Which
remember.
is possible. Right?
That's.
Oh, okay. Sounds about right for Kent Hovind.
Okay.
So Craig Hicks, you were mentioning that all the American atheists in the U.S. are welcome to come to Canada.
Yes.
And I was just being a little bit humorous there by saying Craig Hicks probably won't be able to take you up on your offer. Yeah, he's because he's in prison and doing time for murder. He murdered some women over a parking spot. And then the media took it and said, oh, look, those women are Muslims. It must have been a anti-religious crime.
Mm-hmm.
And they look at his Facebook page and they see he's got a lot of sentiments on his page about religions being horrible things. And but that turned out it was not the reason why he killed them. It was road rage gone crazy, and he shot them, all three of them.
Religion being horrible things doesn't mean that he's an atheist.
Yeah, you mean like he was a Christian and talking shit about other religions?
No, he's an atheist.
Oh man, I was joking.
He's an atheist and he got road rage.
Yeah.
What a bad example for an atheist.
Oh well, hey, I don't look to anybody for.
So let me ask you: this atheist, which religion he was belonging to? Is there something like atheism?
Atheism is not a religion. I see atheism as among the most diverse demographics in the world. So,
is there even something like
to look to?
Is there even something like atheism? Because for me, and excuse me, English is not my
you're doing
mother tongue, right? But I will say there is nothing like atheism, because isms has people you look up to, books you look up to, leaders you follow. So, and for me, being atheist is no ism. There's just like there's an answer to people who are talking. They are theists who believing in some stuff, right? Mm-hmm. An atheist is someone who does not believe this claim. It has nothing to do with any moral, any morals or any politics or whatever, right? So it's an ism. It's just one sentence.
So basically, you've got theism, and then which is a belief in one or more deities, goddesses, gods. The atheism just meaning it's an absence of all of that. It just means you don't believe. That's it. So it's very simple. So you're right. Everything else is incidental, morals, everything else. The problem with Christian morality, for example, is that it has some pretty awful things in there. There's something in 2 Corinthians book of the Bible that talks about killing anybody who doesn't believe. And
why do you like say one verse from the Bible? Just say it. All of the Bible is one bullshit.
I was
immoral book.
As an example.
Oh no! You just the example should be just there's a Bible. It's immoral. It's enough.
Yeah. Instead of saying passage from the Bible.
Okay. Oh, you want to make it specific, right? Okay, I'm sorry about that.
I was just giving a specific example. And the reason I do that is because if somebody comes along and claims that the Bible is immoral, somebody who's actually read the Bible, some Christian will come along and say, well, here's some examples of moral stuff in the Bible. And there are probably some things in there that wouldn't be considered immoral, but there's so much that is pretty horrific that it's definitely not something that I look to for any sort of guidance in anything. So I only gave an example, and I was going to follow up that with another example from the Holy Quran that has chapter 4, verse 89. Instructs people to kill infidels, to kill anybody who doesn't believe in Allah. That includes atheists. So
Very nice.
there's some serious problems with these religions. The Book of Mormon has something similar in it. A lot of those religions have some pretty awful things. So as far as people, so the point I wanted to make was the Christians or other religious people, Muslims, whatever, Mormons, and so on, are
What about jealous?
claiming that they get moral guidance from their deities, which are described in their holy books. And these are really horrible examples of morality. And, you know, I'm glad they don't follow them 100%. You look at Islamic State, they're probably the most accurate at following the Quran.
Oh, there is so much you said.
Absolutely.
There is so much you said. I don't know how to answer to that, right?
You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, I want. That's the
Okay.
problem. I don't know where to start, right?
Well, the problem with religion is it's giant. It's a gigantic thing. It's oversized, and that's why it can be exhausting.
So on the one side, I will start backwards. Okay.
That fits religion quite well, I'd say.
No. I don't mean like that. I will start.
You stepped right onto that mine, dude.
I will start from the last Muslims, right? Most Muslims are much better than their prophet. The most Muslims I know.
Yeah, because they're real. They're not mythical.
No. Let me finish. Sidney,
Sorry.
right? So the most Muslims I know, they are much better than the Quran and than their prophets. They are peaceful, nice people I come along with, right?
You've not met any Wahhabi Muslims then? Okay.
No, I didn't ask them specifically. I know that those guys are Muslims who I met every day, right? I don't ask them because I'm not stupid to ask them.
Okay, every religion you will find, and this is common, you'll find people who are religious.
I didn't finish the joke. I didn't finish the joke.
Yeah, I better let you finish.
Oh, it's always a joke that you miss.
And the joke was, it's like, I would say, of course, the Muslim God exists because I'm not stupid, because I don't want to be killed. This was the joke, right? So I wouldn't disagree. What I mean by that, that's why I'm not asking the Muslims who are living in my place, which if they are Wahhabi or Shia, Sunni, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I don't ask them that, right? Well, only what can I say, they're not following the Quran, like 100%. And the only one who are following the Quran are the apologists on YouTube.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, really? How many people have they killed?
No, it's not about how many people they killed. It's about the propaganda they're doing.
So if they're following the Quran and they are engaging with people on YouTube who are not Muslims, then that would imply that they must be killing those people or planning to kill them.
No, those are the cunts. They are not doing the stuff. They are not doing the dirty work. They are just encouraging people
to do the dirty work.
Yeah, right. But the people you meet on the street, they are nice.
Yeah,
and they will like question the Quran. But this is not even the thing I want to. I just, because this was the first thing I want to talk, because we are going backwards.
Thing a few years ago, about 10 years ago, one of my friends, he's a Christian. He's not a strong follower, but he's mainly for family. But we were joking around a bit, and then I said to him, Well, I appreciate you very much for not following your Bible 100%. And so he said, "Oh, why is that?" I said, "Well, you haven't killed me." And then we talked about the verse, and he laughed. And I said to him, what percentage of the Bible do you think you are conforming to? And he put a number on it, about 60 to 65%. And I thought that he thought about it for a while, and I think that was an honest answer on his part.
No, you should have asked him if he believes if Jesus was the loving God or if he was the murder God, right?
Well,
And he will,
he's my
if he
friend. I don't want to fight with him.
if he will answer no, Jesus is the loving God, then he don't understand his religion, because he is the guy who drowns billions of people in the flood, and
Oh, it's pretty horrific.
on
I agree.
and
Yeah.
no and
Or
on
his father to
his
kill his own son.
on his behalf, there are daily children dying in the during the birth event,
Or of
right?
cancer right after birth, and so on. Yeah.
No, just even during the birth, no cancer involved,
Oh, yeah.
right? Right. This is the word of God, right? Or this is the will of Jesus Christ, superstar,
The inaction of God. Yeah.
right?
You
Yeah.
bugger.
Look at that. Look
And
at that on the screen. Today's
What's on the
election will determine the future of abortion access for millions of Americans. What the fuck? What century do these people live in?
Oh, okay.
Sydney, you're changing topic. I know your topic was the election, but then
You're
we
trying to-
changed the topic, and
No, I'm
you-
not trying to change the topic. I'm just pointing out something that's on the screen. Carry on.
Okay.
They want so very much to bring back the Christian golden age, but they don't realize that the gold was used to kill people.
Ooh.
There was no golden age of
Golden
Christianity
bullets?
because Jesus said, "Get rid of your stuff," right? So there was no golden age, right? You should give everything you have to the poor, but
Hey,
if you
John
give
Rack.
everything to the poor,
That sounds more like Robin Hood, but okay, carry on.
yeah, no, wouldn't be the poor the rich then?
Yeah.
Yeah, bad joke. Okay.
You're betting
Yeah.
1,000 today, dude. It's good.
1,000? 1,000 what?
Bad joke.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So of course, and Jesus said, "Give to the Caesar what the Caesar's, and slaves should be slaves." Of course, he meant it like we should not fight because there'll be bloodshed or whatever, or the people dying. But in fact, he is the one who killed billions of people. This is hypocrisy. This guy is a murderer. Yeah. We should have a Christian on here.
Oh, no. Okay, I tell you what. If we could have a Christian on here, who would you prefer?
What do you mean? Because
who would you choose? Who would you choose?
Joseph Smith, because he's the only one prophet who can be evidently
The one true Christian?
no, this is the only one prophet we have evidence of him existing. Right? The other stuff was invented. There is no one word of Jesus in the Bible. There's always people talking about.
Well, it's not Jesus dictating to his disciples and them writing it down, and us having that original set of that original work, that body of work that was written down while Jesus was speaking, we have nothing. There is nothing. So with Joseph Smith, there is conclusive evidence that there is something. There's a prophet. There's his way of getting his message from his God, and there's a way of dictating and having it transcribed right away, or not even right away. And to me, that's evidence of a Bible that was made the right way by a prophet, etc., speaking to God and stuff. That's that. I can sort of buy into that sort of cult if that were the only cult allowed in North America, because it's America's religion. Because they talk a lot about the God thing in the U.S. and in the election nearing. Maybe the God thing should be solved by making the Mormon Church of America the God thing. What do you think? Finally, this is like a Nicene Creed type of thing. There's so many Christian religions. Let's just have a Nicene Creed, sit down here and figure out just one. Okay? There's so much jumble. Let's figure out just one Christian religion. Just like what Constantine did. He just wanted one religion. There were so many of them bickering. He said, let's get together and figure out one doctrine, for example.
But Constantine had the power. The problem is, if you don't have the power, even if you have the power, look at all the different sects. It's still a problem.
Listen, Sydney Winston Strong Atheist channel has the power, because almost 8 billion people potentially can
watching.
watch.
Yeah. And in fact, you just disproved the Quran. That's the funny stuff. Because the Quran is telling us there'll be 72 different sects of Christianity at the end.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but the Quran doesn't count for anything.
No, wait. But as you already noticed, there are 35,000 different dominations of Christianity. So the Quran cannot be true.
Well, okay, but what's the difference between... It's worse now than it was in the year 325 of the Common Era, when
in the year 25,
when the bishops of all the different Christianities were gathered together to vote on one fucking Christianity. Now, this, like you say, 35,000 plus, we need the same solution. What do you think, Randolph? Are you there?
Randolph is just going in front of the Santa Claus.
What do you think, P.O.?
Yeah, of course, it's all bullshit. Of course, I made a joke about how easy Islam is disproved, but we can go step further and disprove Christianity, because according to the Bible, I mean, we are disproving it according to the scripture right now.
No,
right?
We're not disproving it at all. It's conclusively been shown to be myth and fiction.
Yes, it is. But if
fantasy.
You're talking to, but if you are a Christian, you cannot. Oh no, if you are talking to a Christian, right? You cannot disprove it. Christianity, you cannot disprove Christianity just from logical points, whatever they are, right? You have to bring stuff. You have to bring stuff from the Bible, because it's the only thing they will listen to. So no conversation. Pardon?
Which translation, King James or some other one? What's the best translation?
No, the real translation. Like the Old Testament. So no King James, no all the other bullshit, right? Just go with the Old Testament and go with the Dead Sea Scrolls, the oldest version we know, right? And we know Christianity believes in the King of the Jews, right? And from the Old Testament, if you go with the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls are saying that the God, which is the God of the Torah, was not a God. He was just a sub-God of another God. Deuteronomy, I think 32, verse 8 to 9, right? Found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, where it says the inheritance of God El was spread among his 4 sons, and one of them was Yahweh. Woo!
But my
Sunday.
why I cannot take umbrage to anyone bringing up the scriptures for any reason at all, unless we're around a campfire and you want to tell, spooky campfire stories. But
Yeah, of course. We are.
this is not a channel. My channel is not a channel of philosophy, because I am not a philosopher, and I'm not particularly interested in philosophy. And the only thing you can use the any of the scriptures for is for your philosophical discussions. So I don't give it any merit whatsoever. None.
No, philosophy and scriptures has nothing to do with each other. That's the funny stuff. Because in philosophy you can of course discuss first cause, uncaused cause, the first mover, depending on which age of philosophy you're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
The funny stuff, all those arguments can be used by all religions to prove their God. Funny stuff. Every religion used the same arguments to prove their gods, meaning their arguments or those arguments are not worthy at all because they are not differentiating.
They're not worthy of any debate whatsoever.
No, they are not differentiating which God is right or wrong, so you can dismiss them. All the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say Aztec guy will argue for his religion, and then there will be a Hindu, and then there'll be Abrahamic guy. They'll use the same arguments to prove their God. If they are using the same arguments to prove their God, none of these arguments are proving their God because they are all the same. They are not agreeing with each other.
Back to Craig Hicks. I think he'll come out of prison a Muslim.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, he's into murder.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's pretty adamantly against all this religious stuff, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, then what would drive his rage and anger?
He was frustrated. It was a fight over a parking spot, and he took out a gun and shot them. So he's got some serious anger management issues that.
Anger management problem. Somebody with anger management issues and a gun.
Yeah.
Okay, now how do you stop that? How do you stop the two meeting each other?
Well, here in Canada, we strictly regulate guns, so this doesn't happen too often. But in the U.S., it's a different story. So, U.S. really needs to make their gun regulations a lot more stringent and enforce them. But the political will for that isn't there, so I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's going to be on.
We don't know because
look at the number of gun deaths each year, deaths by gun each year. U.S. is always top in the world, year after year after year. Canada is very low, along with other countries that are strictly regulated with gun regulations.
Well, I don't know, man. If there weren't so many guns, there wouldn't be so many
Yep,
guns in the hands of people.
you can't deny that. That's a fact. Yeah. And
So-
if they're more strictly regulated, there'll be less guns in the country because people won't buy them. Most people.
Well, it's the culture. I mean, I was looking at what was I watching something, and it was the Mississippi, I think, or Alabama, or something like that. They changed their flag. The state that changed their flag recently, their state flag, from the Confederate flag to something.
Oh, people get so mad about that kind of stuff. Yeah.
The windy state changed their flag according to the wind blow.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. Anyway,
Sorry,
apparently
no,
there's this guy, General or something Stennis, in the history of the Confederacy, whose daughter made a flag, a really nice flag, I think, but because her name was Stennis, for some reason or other, her flag was not picked, and another one was. But there was a competition to make the flag for this state, and there's only one stipulation. It was everybody had creative freedom, but there was only one stipulation for everybody: that "In God We Trust" must be on the flag, on the state flag.
Okay. And she didn't have it on there.
She didn't.
I'm glad.
No. Hell no. She's
wonder what
she's
the flag
a
looks like.
progressive thinker. She's up to date.
Before it was something that could be considered up to date.
No, she's a direct descendant of slave owners. So it was one of those, and she's an artist. So it was one of those,
Okay.
Did you just say direct descendant of slave owners and arts people?
And an artist.
Oh, an artist.
And she's an artist as well. That's
What
why.
a lovely group.
Well, you can't choose the people you hang around with. Or can you? I think that'll look better. Yeah. Okay. Central. Cha-ching.
But American people, please don't feel offended by my comment, because before there was a transatlantic slave trade, there was a Muslim slave trade, which was much older than that. And yeah,
Well, let me ask you, going
they,
back.
they have art too. And there was also an African slave trade, because those guys were caught by Africans and sold to the other people. Nobody talks about that, right? It's always the transatlantic slave trade, right? No, it's wrong.
We think of cavemen and the first sort of civilized people, the first human type people. Did they have slavery? How did slavery start?
To be fair, slavery existed long before both of the slave trades.
Yeah, but did the Flintstones era, did they have slavery?
Not on TV. Yeah. But if you look at Europe, we had, I don't know if it's American term, feudalistic system, where the kings own the people lives. Feudalistic, yeah. They're their property, right? So it was nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like it was. Was it bad? Yes, it was bad. Woo! who get rid of this system first? Apparently, in Europe, the fucking French, right?
No,
And
the
I hate.
British did.
No, it was Louis, whatever, the frog eater, right? He did it first, and then the other guys followed.
I thought Britain was
And
first.
but nevertheless, slavery was abandoned step by step. Europe, then America. The Muslim slave trade exists until today. You can still buy slaves
Really? On
in
eBay?
in North Africa, not by eBay. Maybe the North African eBay, but you can still buy them today.
How
You
much do you think it would cost to maintain a slave?
I have no idea, but I think I could afford it.
Well, you'd have to be able to afford to reasonably accommodate another human being in your household.
Depends. Oh, oh, you didn't understand. I said I don't have no idea, but I can afford it. This was the joke. Because
See, I told you every time. You haven't made a joke that anyone has actually caught as a joke, and you've had to interrupt the flow of the conversation to say,
it was
"Yeah,
so
you didn't get
sad.
the
I know
joke."
it's so sad. It's so sad that it's not even a joke. I'm the Jimmy Carr of Discord, right? Yeah.
You are hilarious. Even if I'm the only one in the whole world that thinks so.
Thank you for that. Yeah. So yes, yeah, but the reality is you can still buy those slaves. I have no idea. Today, I mean today, right? Not like
How do
100
you
years
know? Where do you
ago.
get this information from? It hasn't come across my desk. I haven't seen any
Okay,
offers in the junk
okay,
mail.
okay. You
Yeah.
you want me like to Google it or whatever?
No. Show
Buy
me.
a slave.
How
Let
do
me see.
you?
Buy
Who
a
told you
slave.
that slavery was happening today and I can get a slave? Who told you that?
I've seen reports. Is this an English term? Like
You claim
TV
to have seen reports about what?
about buying slaves in North Africa today from fellow Muslims. Sorry about that, but it's the truth. Buy a slave
Well, is
in
it possible? Is it
North
possible that there's a certain segment of the human, uh, of humanity, that actually
and
prefers to be enslaved, chooses enslavement?
I don't think so. And I hope I will be not like because I'm just Googling it. I'm just Googling buy a slave in North Africa. I hope not that within 5 minutes the police will ring at my door.
You could say which is the best or cheapest country to buy a slave from in North Africa. Although the North Africa is really just the market. It's the broker. It's where they gather to show the slaves in the market so that they can trade them away.
So I have a report I found it right now.
I know where there's slavery, actually. It's in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. They have this kind of thing, especially Dubai. The Muslim term for it is kafala. Oh, yeah. And so what'll happen is someone will go and do work there, but the employer holds their passport, so they can't leave the country until the employer decides. And nobody cares.
No, I don't mean like the passport stuff. I mean like real slaves. So
they are real slaves.
I have like from 2017 a report that you can.
This is happening now.
Buy slaves in Libya, right? It's
Dubai.
Just like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this stuff's going on in many countries throughout the world still, unfortunately. Humanity's still got a long way to.
So who
We
are
can call
these?
ourselves civilized as a planet. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, now
Sydney.
who are these slave volunteers? I'd like to know.
They're not volunteering. They're going there thinking they're getting
slaves
thinking they're gonna
volunteers.
work.
What do you mean by that?
They think they're going to get legitimate work, and then they find out once they're there that it's basically a slavery setup. So, and then there's other countries where I've heard of these reports too, that their actual slave trade is going on. There's also pirates on the ocean who take people as slaves from boats. And some of these pirates many of them are actually more sophisticated and more powerful than the Navy forces in many countries in the seas that they're operating in. So they have more high-tech equipment, they're better funded, and all this kind of stuff. And once they get tired of the slave, they just throw them overboard. That's it. So the person drowns to death if they're
What is the slave subjected to, and for how long before you get thrown overboard?
whatever the slave owner wants to. It can be torture, it can be work, it can be whatever the heck. And you're asking who volunteers for slavery. That's BDSM community stuff, but that's a whole different topic, I think. Yeah.
They may be related here. I don't know.
Oh, they're not. No. Not at all. There's no consent in the actual slavery.
Apparently, there's no certainty.
Yeah.
According to some people, there is no certainty.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's horrible. These are human rights violations, obviously, and yeah.
Oh, talking about human rights violations, the World Cup is coming up in Qatar in a week or two.
The World Cup. You go from human rights violations to the World Cup. Interesting.
Well, it's in Qatar, which is a human rights violation country.
Oh yeah, but the Olympics don't care about that.
It's not the Olympics. it's the soccer. It's FIFA World Cup.
Oh, okay. They're aren't corrupt as the Olympic Committee.
Oh hell no.
Oh,
at least I
No,
hope.
they are.
I hope not.
They are better than that. However you mean it.
No, an ex-president of FIFA said today that it was a mistake to choose Qatar for a World Cup. Firstly, the country's too small. It's like usually you go to a country where there's at least half a dozen or a dozen really, really nice stadiums dotted around the country. What's the size of Qatar? It's really small.
Comparing to what?
Compared to Germany, compared to Japan.
Let's see. Qatar. I mean, Qatar is it's a state, right?
No, it's a country.
Yeah. This is what I mean.
Oh, yeah, I see. It's a sovereign state. Voting machine problems in Arizona. Can you believe it?
you're surprised?
I'm sarcastically surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you were asking earlier before I joined in about you guys were talking about Canadian system being used in other countries like the U.S. Yeah. Their big problem with voting is that they don't have a federal department looking after it. Like here in Canada, we have Elections Canada that makes sure that every citizen has a right to vote. It doesn't matter, even if you're in prison, they'll make sure you have a right to vote. Right. In the U.S., prisoners right off the bat are excluded from voting in elections. And the attitude there is, oh, you're in prison, you don't count. So they don't take human rights seriously enough in the U.S.
Well, hold on a second. I'm going to take the position of if you're in prison and there's an election,
that
should be part of your punishment.
Oh.
You're removed from society and you're in jail. Why should you be voting as part of society if you're removed from society?
So we're getting into fundamentals of justice, charter rights, human rights, which are, for the most part, there's a lot of similarity, and the punishment fitting the crime and all that sort of thing. Consider the person who was wrongfully convicted, and now their democratic rights are being taken away.
What do you mean? Okay, let me. Okay, I know what you mean. You are going from the side their democratic rights.
Yeah, we all have
question
democratic rights here in
Okay.
Canada. All citizens do.
Wait. My question will be: there is a rapist.
Okay.
Oh no.
Raping small children. I don't mean.
Oh, a
right?
child molester. Okay.
And he is locked away as a part of his punishment.
Yep.
Does
Incarceration is a punishment. The loss of your punishment.
does he have rights to vote or not? In your
Yes.
perspective?
In and in Canadian law, yes, both. Yes.
No. I didn't. I didn't ask about the Canadian law. I just asked about your personal opinion.
Oh yeah, I already answered that, and I gave you supplementary data. So I said yes, and in addition to that, it's also yes under Canadian law. So I'm just pointing out that Canadian law agrees with me.
I don't understand the first part. I don't have no idea about the Canadian law, so I cannot talk about that, right?
Okay, no, that's why I clarified.
But so this guy has a punishment.
Mhm.
He had done some bad stuff.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Lots of people in prison for that. Yep.
And his punishment, also if you go to prison, you are like outside of the rights which usual people have. They don't have the same rights, right? Because they are punished.
That's the problem in the
Some of your rights have been removed.
That's the problem.
Why suddenly they have the right to vote? It's like
no. Okay, this is why they have so many problems in the U.S. with privatized prison systems and keeping people in the prison. So these are safeguards that are very important, that even though you've lost your freedom to be part of society, mingling out in society and all this, you are now restricted. You are incarcerated. You're in prison. That doesn't mean that you can still be subjected to cruel and unusual punishment. It doesn't mean that your other rights are lost. It means that you are incarcerated and you've lost your ability to be out and about in society because you're deemed to be a danger to society. So that's what the prison sentence is about. The hope is that we're gradually moving to more of a rehabilitative system. Rehabilitation has been shown to actually work in the vast majority of cases. The recidivism rate is very low, and it is a democratic right. The court, like if somebody's committed election fraud and they're in prison for that, then it makes sense that they lose their democratic rights for that. But if what they've done has nothing to do with their democratic rights, it would then be deemed to be cruel and unusual punishment, a punishment that doesn't fit the crime, to take away their democratic rights when it has nothing to do with the crime that they committed.
Okay. And excuse me, and call me stupid. Okay, I'm asking a question. Let's say there are a large amount of people who are Nazis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are in jail for it.
Yep.
And there'll be an election.
Mm-hmm.
And they can vote for a Nazi party.
Yes, they can. If they are citizens, then yes, they can. As long as they weren't put in prison for something like election fraud. I don't like it that they're voting, but I disagree with their views on it, and that's why I vote a different way.
But for me,
what you're highlighting here is the fundamental problem with democracy. Democracy is not a perfect system.
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
could
you're right.
no,
Maybe I sounded wrong.
no,
Maybe I
because
sounded
once
wrong.
they're in prison, they can still vote.
No, the thing is, for me, if you are in prison, you lost your rights to the society
Right.
because you've done something wrong.
To participate in society
Right.
in a physical way. Yeah, you are incarcerated. That's what prison is. It's incarceration. You are in a new home for a while, a home that you can't leave. It's worse than Hotel California.
Yeah, but what I mean by that, you lost your right. In fact, you are punished, and there are different reasons for that: murderer, blah blah blah, thief. Some things are high and something are low, right? Depends on who is talking about that. They'll make a different measurement to that, which is what is important or not. But for me, somebody who was in prison, they lost their right to take part in society and their how it goes. They should not have the right to vote.
So they lose some rights. They lose the right to mobility throughout the country because they're incarcerated. Losing that
No,
freedom.
this is just a part of it.
You talk, so I'm going to explain here.
Yeah.
So I waited. I listened to what you were saying. So they lose their right to be part of society physically in person. They still have the right to write letters, to receive letters. They still have the right to have opinions. They still have the right to all kinds of different things. Because
those, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you. Those rights were given to them by other people who have, I would say, the right place in their heart, right? Because they still think those people are people.
Yeah,
that's why
but they're people
those rights were given to them. Okay,
yep.
And I have nothing against it.
Those rights are protected. They're not here in Canada. They are protected. Yeah,
but I think the right to, and of course I'm not a Canadian, and I'm not speaking as a Canadian, and I of course not speaking as an American. Please, anybody who's listening to this chat, right, don't misunderstanding me like that. My personal opinion is those guys who are in prison, they're for a reason there, and they should not have the same rights as the citizens who are free. No, but the vote thing is a very important thing.
Well, they have lost certain rights. Now, here's the thing. How do we, like, if we are serious about prison being a more than just, other than just punishment, but also to be a solution, then there has to be a rehabilitative aspect to it. So if the case is that people just want to have the mindset of throw them in prison and throw away the key, then yeah, they don't want them to have any rights, of course, but that's not the mentality we have here in Canada. We want people to actually get better. We want them to be able to get back into society someday and become better participants in society. And so taking away a bunch of rights that have nothing to do with their crime doesn't make any sense. Because it also motivates us as a society to make sure that the right things are happening in their incarceration time, that there are options for rehabilitation available, and that they get those. They have options for education, which is part of rehabilitation, so they can get out and do something better with their lives. And so it's already pretty horrible for people in prison to be there. It is not at all like what Hollywood depicts. It is a really horrible place to be. It's bad enough that they've lost their freedom to be in society and be part and communicating with other people who they don't know out in the street for a walk in the park or whatever. They're stuck in that place for the duration of their sentence. So if all their rights are to be taken away, they cannot speak. They cannot write letters. They cannot form opinions. They cannot associate with groups within the prison even, and so on. And they cannot vote. So you're taking all these rights away. That was not what's prescribed under law. If somebody's committing a crime of theft or assault or something, then it doesn't make sense to say, oh, well, you've committed that crime, so now you can't vote. That is a miscarriage of justice, because the punishment does not fit the crime. It is essential in the fundamental principles of justice for the punishment to be fitting to the crime. So if they are a citizen, they are entitled to vote, no matter where they are. They could be overseas and they could mail in a ballot. They could be in prison and do it that way. They could be out of prison and just a normal member of society and still have the same right to vote. We all must be equal. Otherwise, these rights are special. There's special treatment for different people. And then what we do, we end up crossing a bridge of saying, okay, more people have different rights because of their different status. So if somebody commits a lesser crime, where do we start drawing the line saying, okay, somebody commits a petty crime versus a serious crime? Are we now having to decide which of these criminals can still get to vote and which ones can't? Then we start having people in society that have had a criminal record. Should they still be allowed to vote now that they're out? And even though they lost it, and on it goes. It starts to open up a can of worms. And it becomes a big problem.
Yes, I kind of understand your position. The thing is,
I take the rights very seriously. They apply to everybody. And I mean everybody.
Yeah, but those guys who are in prison, it takes something to go into prison, right?
There's a lot of different reasons people are in prison. Some of them are also wrongfully convicted. Imagine that you are wrongfully convicted, and you're right.
Okay. I'm not talking about them. I will agree with you.
Didn't exclude it, but you also didn't exclude it.
So now I'm doing it.
Oh, now you're excluding it. Okay.
Okay. Let's. So of course there are some people.
Why don't you whittle it down to violent offenders only, right? And then you can at least have some kind of moralizing.
So the difference between the violent whatever offenders,
okay,
yeah, and those guys who let's say they are just thieves, right?
Yes.
Non-violent offenders. Okay.
Yeah, instead of breaking your bones and traumatizing your life psychologically forever, they take your stuff.
Yeah, so those guys will be in prison. They'll have a sentence, not a life sentence. They'll get a sentence for a particular time, meaning they will go after 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months, or 2 years even. They will go free, right? After the 2 years, they have their right. They paid their duty. They paid whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they are openly rehabilitated, but they have the right to vote. I'm for it, right? And then there are the other guys who killed people, raped, whatever, and they are in prison for longer time. For me, they shouldn't have the right to vote. My opinion. It's not like I'm saying, oh, people who are in prison are bad or something. They did stuff which is not excusable. They lost their right to be a part of society who are kind of dictating. Not dictating is the wrong word. Who are doing pointing to a direction where the society goes because of the stuff what they have done.
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's not really clear to me.
No.
I'm sorry.
So people who killed other people should not be able to vote until they get out of prison. After that, they can vote as long as they wish.
So you're being selective about people's rights that have nothing to do with the crime they committed. How is that justified?
I'm selective.
Yeah.
If you, I think there's a difference between people who just stole something. Their crime will be measured differently, and they will get out of the prison in a shorter time.
On principle, I like the Randolph's viewpoint on this.
A lot of people don't agree with me, so I appreciate this, Sydney.
Oh, okay.
I'm for my side, I understand that Randolph. I find it nice, but I just there is no position for me.
Okay. It is not about, I'll just clarify, it's not about being nice. I recommend, if you're not familiar with it, you might be, I don't know. John Rawls, he's a philosopher from the 1970s who wrote a book on a theory of justice. I think it was a theory of justice. And he's in there, there's a concept called the veil of ignorance. So what this has been kind of a big influence in how I come to these kinds of conclusions. It is something I highly recommend. The veil of ignorance concept is primarily for lawmakers, but I find it really useful in moral determination as well. So the idea is that if you're a lawmaker and you're making laws that are going to affect people, laws always affect people, it seems, or almost always, then what you need to do is step back from it and consider what impact that law will have on people who are, if you were completely poor, you're male or female, or you have a criminal record, or things like this. Well, I have learned
right.
And so I'm still going here. So if the idea is you throw yourself as randomly thrown into society and you question, how is this law going to affect you? The goal is to try to make the law work in a way that is going to be equal and fair to everybody. So this has nothing to do with being nice, although the end result is it can seem quite nice, because it really is. But it's justice, it's fairness, and it's a very important concept. It's a new idea from the 1970s that gradually more and more countries are starting to adopt. We use it quite strongly here in Canada. And then there's some other countries that do as well. And it is one of the most important intellectual tools for lawmaking. And so the veil of ignorance, I highly recommend looking into it if you're not familiar with it already. And because of this is how I've come to the conclusion that the human rights, charter rights here in Canada are correct in this respect and in many respects. I like the idea of living in a society where everybody does have equal opportunity and people are treated equally. And the veil of ignorance is such a wonderful tool for helping us to make sure we get there and stay there. The way I see it.
Okay, call me stupid.
No,
You're
I won't.
stupid.
Yeah. Thank you, Sydney. Isn't somebody that went against the law and committed a crime?
Yep, people do that.
Yeah, of course they do.
The law is always fair and just, unfortunately, by the way. But that's a subject.
And I of course I'm asking the stuff because just I have an opposite opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm right. Okay, I just want to kind of
Applies to me
because I don't understand it.
Okay.
Right. This is the reason. So we have a different opinion what it means to be what justice is, right? Simple thing. People who committed bad stuff, they should be punished. They don't have the same rights as other people, and I think just if it comes to because we are talking about elections, right? To vote, how the society should go on.
Yeah, but shouldn't you get a cross section of society to vote? In other words, everyone.
Let's. Okay, I'll give you an example. I'll give you maybe no. Let me finish. Please.
Hold on, one at a time, guys.
Please. Let me imagine that, or let me give you an example. I'm living in Europe, right? After World War II, Germany is lost, right? I'm living in Germany. And there'll be Adolf Hitler. It's just hypothetical, right? He's dead. Woohoo, right? This guy would have the right to vote for the Nazi party in the elections, and he will have a lot of his fans in jail too.
The Nazi party?
Yeah.
Are they running?
They are in Germany. They are running.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what's the percentage of Nazis in prisons?
100%.
100%. Okay, cool. Then what's the percentage of the prison population to the total population?
Whatever this percentage is, right? It will like.
I know, but dude,
take the people who are quote unquote punished for their
but listen,
political views, right?
Okay.
And suddenly they have rights.
Yes.
To spread their political views.
Okay, so that's good because they have an outlet. Number one, they are organized and regulated. Number two, because if there's going to be a Nazi party, there's a political procedure, etc., etc., etc. And in which case, I also have to say that a Nazi party, in my, again, using my principles, my personal principles, would be allowed to represent the prison population of the country, if that's who they're backing, if that's where they get their grassroots from. Then we know where we stand. Prison population, Nazi party. No problem.
Yeah, okay. It's just I will not. If there will be free people. Okay, let me give you. This is the last example. Last example. Maybe the Nazi guys were not enough.
Oh, he's coming with the big
Look,
guns now. Okay.
I wanted to say something earlier. Just it'll be real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
What that is every person in a given country, incarcerated or not, is a member of society. That resonates with me.
But they don't have the same rights. They
Correct,
lost
because
their
they've been
rights of the society.
Yeah, and the punishment must fit the crime. So, that's a very important fundamental of justice. So,
And one of them will be, for me, they have no right to vote.
The rights that are related to their crime are the rights that are removed. So that makes sense. That's reasonable. Otherwise, it's unusual, cruel or unusual punishment if it is taking away other rights from them that have nothing to do with the crime they committed.
Because you're seeing that, and there's nothing wrong about that.
Do
you're seeing
prisoners
like
have a right to tasty food?
Let me finish. You're saying that if you're a citizen of a country, you have the right to vote, right? And
Yes.
being in prison for being a thief doesn't make you taking away the right to vote, which I will understand.
Yeah.
On this level, right? I will understand on this level.
Okay.
Now, and I'm just doing an example which is completely ridiculous. Okay, we have pedophiles, right? And they are voting for the pedophile party.
I thought you mean child molesters.
Yeah.
No, they have to vote for the Nazi party because they represent the prison population. Remember?
No, Nazis has nothing to do with that. The pedophile parties, right?
And how do they get on the ballot? How do they get validated as a party?
Because it's democracy.
They pick up. They have exactly. They got to pick up a minimum amount of votes in order to get even to be a recognized political party. So who's going to vote for them?
Well, the prisoners.
Actually, if they run as a party, if they are promoting something that's illegal as part of their platform, then they are disqualified.
Yeah, but being Nazi is also illegal in my country.
Hold on a second. We used to have the marijuana party in Canada before it was legal. Mm-hmm. Randolph?
It wasn't illegal.
It was just not legal.
Cannabis in the 80s?
They were. It's. Oh boy, that one.
Oh, you are always a pot smoker. Come on.
I've never smoked any pot in my life. I've never smoked anything, actually.
Yeah, he's still
joke.
He still lives a life of the customs and traditions of his forefathers before they even came to Canada.
Yeah, so that's
they were just drinking absinthe,
Sydney,
right?
Yes. Sydney. Yes. Possession of marijuana was illegal. Promoting it was not. However, when it comes to child pornography and child molestation, those kinds of things, even promoting it is illegal.
Of course.
So
always has been, hasn't it?
Sorry?
It always has been.
Yeah. I don't know right from the beginning. I don't know when those laws were put in place, but it is part of the criminal code. It was added.
But we accept as a society that it is illegal, whether it's on the criminal code or blah blah whatever. It's illegal. You don't go do it. I don't go do it. Nobody goes and does it. It's illegal
because most people don't have any interest in doing it.
Exactly.
As well.
It's sort of a common sense social thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Catholic clergy, but that's a different.
Yeah, but that's a viable discussion.
Yeah,
what Catholic clergy are pro child molestation.
Unfortunately, that does seem to be the case. Yeah.
A pro what?
Fucking children, Sydney. Let me say it like that. Just clear to you.
Well, that's not nice.
If you are a pedophile and you want to go away with that, become a Catholic priest. It's easy.
Now, the Catholic Church has been around for something like 1,000 years?
At least that, yeah. I think so.
What?
Oh,
Okay.
more? 2,000 years?
Okay, if you are going that they were Catholic since the Council
Oh,
of
2,000 years.
Nicaea,
Hmm. Okay, so
Council of
2,000 years of Catholics.
But Google
No,
says
no.
anyway.
Of
Yeah.
a
Council of
billion
Nicaea.
Catholics, don't forget. Or 2 billion, whatever it is. This is not a good sign for our planet. Well, for the people on it.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. You're being gentle.
Okay.
Let's keep up to date here. Hold on. Let me go up.
Yeah, let's come to the vote stuff.
All
Back
right, let's
again.
go to the latest. I'm lagging. Man, I've missed a lot.
Basically, my point was that in the U.S., there's all kinds of discriminatory problems with their election system because federal elections it's left up to each state to handle it how they want to, whereas in
Yeah.
Canada, we handle it from a federal level and we're consistent all across the board, is where I was actually trying to go with what I was saying earlier. So the U.S., to fix their voting system, needs to do something like this. Now, I've asked Americans about this, and some of them have told me, quite a few have said, they wouldn't trust fellow citizens to run such a government department. So there's a huge problem in the U.S. that's kind of really, it's a cultural problem as well when it comes to elections.
What can be done about it?
You need somebody who's actually going to come in and put that kind of stuff in place and make it happen and mandate the department to be impartial like they do here in Canada. And mentioning prisoners voting was one example of that being that impartiality, which in the U.S., most of the states don't allow prisoners to vote. I think there's a few that do, but most of them don't. And so there's, and some of them will do it based on the type of crime they've been in. Some crimes they're allowed to, other crimes they're not. It's a mess. But I think basically there's politicians should really have nothing to do with the election system itself. That needs to be a separate government department that's mandated to be impartial, like what we have here.
I think what we have here is so perfect.
I think
never a contention,
but I think we're a lot better.
Yeah, but the scrutineering is
They
done
just
and
say
it's
it.
vicious. It's vicious.
Americans are just bunch of cunts.
I know
you
many.
represent Germany. You don't represent Canada.
But do you agree or disagree?
I disagree.
I think some are, but
I think there's a lot of atheists in the United States.
Yeah, most of the Americans I know are not horrible people.
Exactly.
Many are quite nice.
We are talking about elections.
And most of the horrible
not
people
about
that I
people.
know from America are Christians or fascists of some other kind.
I've seen that. I've noticed that pattern too, unfortunately.
So do you think Christianity is fascism?
I think it has some fascist ideals. It's authoritarian in its fundamentals. So it certainly fits there. The whole fact that there's a term theocracy to describe this stuff is pretty telling, I think.
So is it fair to say there's Jesus and then there's the Bible, also there's Adolf Hitler and there's Mein Kampf, and they both kind of have they have parallel similarities.
You know, I've not read Mein Kampf, but I
have it here if you want.
I should someday. It's on my list, low on my list.
Boring as fuck.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, it is. Where the fuck is it?
Christian, there's a lot of pro-Christian stuff in it, I hear.
I mean, not the fuck is boring, but it's just a phrase, right?
I must have taken it down.
Oh no, I've heard a lot of people say it's boring, so I'm sure you're right.
Oh, it is. It's also very not very well written. It's horribly. It doesn't flow. It's just Goebbels. Can you imagine Goebbels standing there speaking? You know the way he used to propaganda speak. It's that in writing?
Why is it that all these religious visionaries, aside from L. Ron Hubbard, are such terrible writers? He's Scientology, by the way.
Which is in the news lately, by the way.
Oh, what did they do now?
Specifically right now is the Danny Masterson trial. Now, Danny
Huh.
Masterson used to be a TV star from the 80s in, I don't even forget, I can't even remember the show he was on, but it was a very, very, very popular show. With Richie and with Happy Days. That's what it was. He was on Happy Days. And
No,
yeah, he's on trial for some kind of sexual uh, um, shenanigans, assault, something bad, and essentially Scientology is on trial at the same time because Danny Masterson is a representative of Scientology, and from other angles as well, it seems that the justice system is closing in on Scientology, and I watch Aaron Smith Levin fairly regularly. He's an ex-Scientologist, and he lives in Clearwater, so he updates us quite a bit, and it looks like because of the internet, Scientology is not really growing. It's not growing at all. If anything,
are you sad about that?
am I sad about that?
Yeah, it just sounds like.
I'm sad.
Sorry.
Am I sad? Well, I'm no. I am
It was
sad
a
about
joke. It was a joke.
well,
Another bad joke of you.
I'm not taking anything you say as a joke. Is that okay?
Come on. Are you taking me seriously? Since when, Sydney? And if you do, it's a very poor.
Oh man, have I
judgment.
ever read you wrong?
By the way, I have to go.
All right.
Thank you very much, both of you.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking with you.
You're saying that like right now. That's like a joke from your side. Okay.
I was being serious. It was
Yeah.
talking with
Thank
you.
you
was
very
fun.
much.
Do come back now.
See you next time.
Good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Germany signing out. It's Nacht time in Germany.
I see John Rapp has asked in your YouTube chat, asked you if we can please outlaw presuppositional apologetics.
Well, on the Sydney Winston Strong Atheist channel, it is outlawed.
I like the A on your toque there.
You like it?
Looks like a very strong font.
Well, atheists are very strong principle.
Yeah. We're looking at the possibility of putting an event together in end of November, last Saturday, thinking somewhere in Burnaby, looking for a pub there that / restaurant that we can have good conversation with Canadian atheists. So
That'll be awesome.
yeah. So we got to figure out.
I'm a zero tolerance when I drive, so I'll probably will have to drive there. So I hope they sell something that I like that's not alcoholic.
Oh, we're not into the alcoholic stuff, but it's more for the restaurant thing, right? But we're thinking to go to a place.
Yeah. If we can go for dinner or something, or a hamburger or whatever.
Yeah. That's why I mentioned restaurant. Right?
Yeah,
so
fine.
Yeah, it'll be nice to do, and it may not even be a pub, right? It may just be a restaurant, which probably work better because most pubs are too noisy to have conversations in anyway.
I have never had a conversation in a pub. I've had a screaming match.
You know what I've noticed about conversations in pubs? When it is quiet, people very often have all the solutions to fixing the world's problems, but everybody's also too drunk to write them down.
Exactly. And as soon as he walks out the door to find his car, he's forgotten about everything.
It's out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. Through those beer goggles. What a sight that must be. Yeah.
So how are we going to promote this venture of exporting the Canadian political system?
Well, that's going to require money, because if you want the advertising to be effective, you'll need lots of money. I don't know
Well,
who'd be to invest though, because I don't know how much profit could be made from it.
from
From
exporting our, well,
yeah,
we'd need to.
think we could charge royalties?
No, but there would be a charge because it's intellectual property.
Yeah, but
So they rent it from us.
in intellectual property, that doesn't mean international. Oh boy.
Okay, yeah. So what's happening in this United States of America? Breaking. GOP Senator Tim Scott has won re-election in South Carolina. Okay, we are starting to see senatorial results. Rand Paul wins re-election from
So is it
Kentucky.
looking like more blue or more red?
The two that I just mentioned were red.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just read recently that Stephen Harper, our past prime minister, was involved in setting up the anti-vax convoy that they renamed the Freedom Convoy.
No
That happened.
way.
Yeah.
What the hell does he think
And,
he's doing?
well, apparently he's been, as I look into it further, it seems that he's working behind the scenes with various groups to try to get a lot of this Christian right-wing stuff into politics here. And he was trying to lay the foundation for
Oh, he
converting.
was a he was. I was scared of what he could do.
Yeah, at
He
first he
was.
seemed quite reasonable, and then it got worse and worse. So it's good that he got ousted. And the new guy at the Progressive Conservative Party seems to be another similar type, with a little bit more energy. And so I always thought the name Progressive Conservative was a strange name because it's an oxymoron.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're it's funny, they put out these little flags saying they're not going to outlaw abortion, but they are willing to entertain proposals.
Just leave it
So,
already. Why even? Yeah,
but
that's
the
what
is,
scares me. Is that when they
but
even
if you're
just
not
talk
going to
about
do
it?
it, why entertain proposals? You know,
Right.
it's a
Sneaky
double message.
bastards.
It's a two-faced message, is what it
Yes,
is.
that's what they are. Don't trust the Canadian conservatives.
I don't trust any conservatives. Actually, I have trouble trusting any politicians. Period.
Yeah.
But that's just because the history of politics everywhere. So
Okay, New Mexico still has 2 hours left before the polls close, but that doesn't count. New Mexico is a western state.
so it's mostly red so far, huh?
Well, just the two that I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen
Not
a
sure.
sort of a graph yet, or a chart of any sort.
It's not
But
showing
it's
the whole
coming.
picture.
They're coming.
I look forward to sitting down at a restaurant and having a nice chat with you face to face. It'll be good to meet you. We've talked
Hell
online
yeah!
some.
We'll probably close the place down.
Yeah, I got a bunch of bookmarks made up. This is the first series of them. The logo got stretched on them, but the bookmarks still look good. But I'm going to get better ones in the future, so I'll be handing those out. So
All right.
if they like to read, they can. I've got nice nature scenes on them, mountains, that kind of stuff. So not anything crazy. So something to try to look professional.
Oh yeah, it's the looks that count. Nothing else. Image is everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. It seems to be, especially in politics. Yeah. So you've been running a lot of these streams, following the politics and stuff. Do you broadcast on Twitter and other places before you start your streams?
No,
Oh, as if you did, you'd probably get more people coming.
I don't. I'm kind of shy and I'm afraid of crowds.
Oh, okay. You like it small like this.
One or two people that have differences of opinion that aren't crazy and bring up scripture, that's fine by
Yeah.
me.
Are you familiar with the veil of ignorance concept, or is that
No, no. You want to run it by
that's
me again?
Oh, okay. I do have to go pretty soon, but John Rawls in the 1970s, he wrote a book called Theory of Justice. And
Mm-hmm.
in there, he's a philosopher who very laser focused on economics and justice.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up with this idea, the veil of ignorance, which is that you, as a lawmaker, will throw yourself randomly into society as a person of any kind of background, any kind of level of wealth, education. You could be male or female. You might have a disability, all kinds of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to test and understand how the law affects different people in different positions, with the goal of trying to make sure that the law is fair and just and equal to everybody. So it's a great idea. Now, of course, this requires the lawmaker to try to actually make an honest effort to utilize it. But it's a great idea, and I find it very useful in trying to make better moral determinations as a tool for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's not what it's meant for. It's meant for the lawmakers, right? But it's one I highly recommend. If you type in "veil of ignorance" into YouTube after this, there's lots of short videos that explain.
Okay. I was going to ask you. You said that abortion. The conservatives were looking at abortion, and trying to con us into thinking that nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
But are the cannabis laws ingrained so that the conservatives can't take them away, or how does that work?
If they have enough power, they can take laws
They
away.
can take laws away, yeah.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to abortion, in order for them to outlaw abortion, they're going to have to change our Constitution, because in Charter of Rights and Freedoms, Section 15 prohibits discrimination against people based on their sex and based on other factors. And it prohibits discrimination. So an anti-abortion law would be discrimination. So it would be illegal to have such a law in Canada. So for them to outlaw abortion, they're going to have to do some stuff at the constitutional level there. They're going to need a lot of power for that. Because change the constitution is not a 50-50 thing. That's my understanding. There has to be a lot greater agreement.
Once the immigration quota of extremely conservative people from the eastern part of this world has been filled, there's a good possibility that they'll get what they want.
Most of them like the Liberal Party right now, so for now we're probably okay. But I do think that the Conservatives are putting on a good show that's attracting a lot of people. And they also have a lot of energy coming from the illegal anti-vax convoy that happened in February 2022. They hate it that I call it that, so I call it that.
The dumbest thing you've ever seen in this country?
Yeah, and it's funny, they get up. The ironic thing is they're standing up protesting, claiming they have no freedom and no rights here. And they did it for almost 4 weeks straight.
Mm-hmm. I just want to publicly go on record as thank Justin Trudeau for doing what he did. He should have done it a lot sooner.
Yeah, it was something, because they were really trying to handle it, and it just wasn't going the way it needed to go. Because those people, the reason I call it an illegal protest is because what makes it illegal is that the protest organizers, I remember them saying that the protests were not going to stop unless they got their way, and the government changing by the government getting rid of the regulation. Now, that is what they're trying to do, is use coercive tactics. That's an attempt at something like blackmail. Coercion is illegal in Canada, and therefore it's illegal. But on top of that, what they're trying to do is they're trying to coerce the government into violating our democratic rights as citizens, because they're there are processes and procedures they have to go through before changing regulations. And if a group can come along and use coercive tactics like illegal protests and they're illegal because of the coercion, to get rules changed, laws changed, regulations changed, then what are our democratic rights for? So the government wouldn't be able to accommodate them anyway. They'd have to actually go through some procedure to get that out. So now the Emergencies Act, I remember when that was brought in by the Federal Liberal Party, that the Conservatives are out there saying they're going to use it all the way to the end. And then what did they do? They canceled the effectiveness of it very early on, because once they got what they needed from it, that was fine. And then there were people out there saying, oh, now they can violate everybody's rights. No, they can't. The Emergencies Act, right at the beginning, specifically states that everything that's done still has to be done in a way that doesn't violate people's rights. All it does is it gives them better powers to organize and assemble groups, like policing groups and things like that, to get things done right. I'll be back in a minute.
Interesting. All right, let's see. How are we doing?
I got family stuff going on here. I have to go up in a minute or so, but I hope this was interesting. I think I'm preaching to the choir here, though. So,
really? Well, say what you were going to say.
I just said it about that was my view on the protest. So I think that the Emergencies Act was
we're probably one and the same on the view.
Yeah, I think the Emergencies Act usage was properly justified.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I don't think anybody abused any power there. And looking at the investigation going on now, which part of the Emergencies Act invokes an inquiry. So looking at the inquiry going now, I hearing what all these people are saying, and it sounds like everybody's following procedures, doing things properly. They're concerned about rule of law, things like this. Everyone's kind of wanting the right things to happen. So it doesn't look like anybody has any ill intent in there. It seems to be that many attempts were made to try to resolve the situation long before the Emergency Act was brought in. So, it's not. I
still think you waited too long.
You know what? That's to his benefit, though, because it took so long to do it. They really wanted to make sure it was right before doing it. And it's like kind of a last resort effort. And
true.
The protest went on for 3.5 weeks. That sounds...
Yeah, but look how many of the citizens or the people who lived around those trucks. Look at their lives. Look at their livelihoods.
It's terrible. And part of the problem, too, is the towing companies all refused to tow any of the trucks. Some of them because they agreed with the protesters, but most of them because of safety issues, safety concerns, because there's so many people around. And if there's all these protesters are going to go and start shoving the tow truck drivers around because, why are you taking this? We hate you, blah, blah. So this is why the tow truck companies all refuse. The towing companies refuse, not the government. The government asked them to go there and do that. So to remove the trucks that were illegally parked. So. Alrighty, you probably recognize the sound of a lazy boy chair here.
Yeah, for sure.
They're good, comfortable chairs. I have to go because there's family stuff going on here.
All
but
right. I just want to let you know that I can't join, unfortunately, your Sunday Discord because I'm banned from both, or from any platform that you're on, or for any server that you're on.
I'm sorry.
That Dawkins has got anything to do with. I'm out.
I do have it on YouTube streaming live at the time.
I know. Yeah, true. So and that's the only way I can watch.
I appreciate very much that you want to join it, and if you do really want to get in,
I don't want to join it. I just want to be part of the Discord audience.
So what I can do is I can ask Taco to talk to the administrators for that Discord guild and see if they can get you back in, and if they will, then that'll be great. Because would you like me to?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that'd be great to have you in there, because there you can see there's pictures going up and people writing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
There's always an extra conversation going on in the chat. I put them both up on the screen, but yeah.
And
Okay.
exactly, there's a chat conversation going which I can't participate in
Yeah.
if I'm not in there in the
I'd love
server.
to set it up so you can, and I'll try to do that. I'll send a note to Taco tonight about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
but keep me posted on the end of November on the event.
I will be sending you a direct message on Twitter, so because I know how much you want to go. So
Okay. All right,
we'll
man.
let you. Thank you very much for all your support. By the way, really, really
Oh,
appreciate it.
well, thank you for your work. Your efforts are supreme.
I wish I had time to do more work. It's I feel like I don't have enough. So,
You don't.
but I'm glad that you appreciate that, and you're in my list of the Atheist Appreciation Day video I did. I'm going to be doing more parts, and you're in the list already. By the way,
Oh, cool.
your
Looking
channel will
forward
be
to seeing that one.
when I get up to the S's. I only got to the end of the B's so far. So
Okay.
sometime yet.
See, in 5 years we'll talk about it.
Oh no, but sooner than that. Okay, thanks,
All
Sydney.
right,
Have a good
Randolph. Good
year.
night.
Bye bye.
Excellent. Right, so now we can get into this election and figure out what all the fuss is about. So what's the best way to do this? Good night, Randolph. Okay, let's see. The New York Times. Nearly half of all US states allow you to register and cast ballots on election day. If you are in line when your polling place closes, you can still vote. Well, it's 4:30 here on the West Coast, and I believe polling booths close at 7 local time, but it won't matter. So Ohio has just been projected to have a Republican governor. I'm not sure if anybody can let me know or join how the governor and the senators work, how that system works. I'm very uneducated on US politics. Can someone come in and please help me? All right, so that's that. Mike DeWine looks like. I think he's that Republican I just mentioned, isn't it? Oh, these tweets are coming in fast and furious. There's a tie in Florida. Big news. So what's the time in? Okay, so the polls have been closed for 30 minutes, 33 minutes on the East Coast, in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. DD HQ race update. I don't understand this. Virginia 02, maybe Virginia District number 2? I don't get that. Unless there's just only 2 districts in Virginia. And it's for senators. We kind of need an American in here to explain all this as it scrolls by. If there are any Americans brave enough. Or who think they are confident enough to explain what's happening. Okay, that's the Republican. The Republican gathering place, the headquarters in for Mick McCarthy. who I think is a Republican. Red guy. All right, so lot of predictions that Biden is below 40% before in pre-election polling. So early Tuesday evening, the results will start to trickle in. That means now it's early Tuesday evening in Eastern Standard Time. So let's see it all. Okay, you know, because they've only verified one guy, this Mike DeWine guy, for Ohio, you're getting tweet after tweet after tweet telling us that Governor Mike DeWine has won, has been re-elected, and he is a Republican. So Ohio is a blue state. Now, this is what I don't understand. Is Ohio now a blue state because it's got a Republican? Sorry, is Ohio a red state now that it has a Republican governor, or do the senators have a say in whether the state is blue or red? How does that work? And how do they elect the senators? Can the senators come from the same party, or do they have to be different parties, or how does it work? And how come it's always so close in the House, in the Senate? It's always so close. Is you know, there's like 49 or 51 or 50 of each. I don't understand how that whole process works. I'd appreciate a crash course. Oh, another term won by a Republican senator. Tim Scott. I'm not quite sure where he's from. It could be the I don't know. You can tell I'm Canadian talking about US politics. I have no idea how it all works, except for the very, very top stuff. The division, the three divisions. I get that, but I don't understand how senators, how the two senators per state process works. I don't understand that. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is running. She's running for Arkansas governor. Really? I think what's going on here? There's Sarah. There's really nothing. I think this is a way too early a time to chat about the elections. So I am going to stop chatting about the elections, I think. Yeah. I should probably just end it. I think I'm just going to end it here. Maybe start it up in a couple of hours. But before I end it, I'm going to respond to John Rapp. Crash course. Politics is... Oh, yes, my crash course. Thank you. Politics is the technical name for a popularity contest. Money, bullshit, and influence are the methods used to persuade idiots in general which figurehead to vote for. So that's how it works. Then why are there only two parties? If it's about money, bullshit, and influence, you'd think there'd be dozens of parties vying for that influence and the money. Let me know. Let me know. I think for now, I think we're done. I'll start it up again in a little while if I'm still up, or if there's any excitement, or there's a number of factors which could determine what happens next. But I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.